What's up, y'all? Welcome to the PSH podcast, the podcast where casual gamers come and talk about not so casual topics. I'm your homie Jolly Dangerous. You can call me Jolly D or just pin on Jolly. You may know me from my main channel, the Jolly Mage channel. Today we have Spectre. What's up, bro?
What's going on, co-host Spectre?
And we also have Ren, Spectre's brother.
What's going on, everybody? It's Ren the Wicked. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ren the Wicked.
All right. And got a special guest star today, Bear from, I know you from LOL. You can tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Basically just game. I just pick a game. I there.
Nice.
All right.
I know. I need a catchphrase now. Just right in the middle of a catchphrase.
So today's show is about corruption in the gaming industry. But before we get into like the corruption part of things, we want to go ahead and jump into this new trending topic. PlayStation owners are going homeless, and when I say that, PlayStation Network is actually closing the PlayStation Home in 2015. So anybody can talk about what PlayStation Home really is. For those that don't know.
Oh, excuse me. PlayStation Home was pretty fun. I mean, I was there since the beta.
Well, let people know what PlayStation Home is.
So PlayStation Home is, imagine Facebook, but in a 3D space, to where you can go into this big social hub. You create an avatar that kind of resembles you. They also have something known as the PlayStation Home Store, where you can buy clothes for your avatar. And when it was first in beta, some of the cool aspects about it was going and play games that wasn't available in other PlayStation games when it made its premiere on PlayStation 3 during the second week of launch. So you had, nice little social hubs that were like casinos or like a bowling arena that resembled many things like Main Event, Funtastics, if you guys ever heard of that, things of that sort. And later on down the line, they progressed to having a movie theater to where you can actually preview new anime series as they hit the PlayStation Network. And then, of course, they had a couple of rewards. If you pre-ordered a game, you would get new outfits for your character in PlayStation Home. And it was really good, when you build up your friends list on PlayStation Home and you party with your friends, make new friends, and just really get a nice little social party going on when you sent them game invites from the PlayStation Home. And once everybody accepted their invites, you would leap straight into the game. Yeah, and it was really remarkable, and it was really, really groundbreaking in the fact that PlayStation had the only hub, whereas with the Xbox and the Wii, you had little avatars that ran around your television screen, but really didn't do anything.
Yeah. So
And I was gonna say commonly, like one of the closest things to that was the PC version of Second Life. It wasn't
exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't as in depth as Second Life, the monster it's become today, but it was a free alternative to that, and it was a social alternative to that amongst gamers, people who shared already a common interest, so that drew in a lot of people.
Yes.
the social aspect was more like The Sims. Now when I was in it, I didn't really but I didn't really participate that much in PlayStation Home Network because it was just so daunting, like going in there and not knowing what to do. But I know one of the aspects was you was able to talk to other people with your avatar by texting.
You can text or you could even do voice chat. And one of the cool features as well was the events, where in the PlayStation Home Hub, they would actually pay DJs to come and do live shows.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so it says users have about until December 3rd to download any content they may want. A complete shutdown of the service will happen on March 31st, 2015. But fans who stick with the home in the months leading up until then will receive some free unspecified content. It's not saying that this content may not be PlayStation Home related. It may be anything that could have been related to the network, but it's like if you stick in there instead of just leaving, you get something for free.
My biggest concern is the people who actually invested money, such as myself, in PlayStation Home. I must have spent about a good grand total of $250 in avatar stuff and even buying houses.
Man, I know that feels bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing with people who are trying to make a business out of it. Like you said, DJs who this was an alternative source of income, and casual people can gain exposure through this system. It's so funny how they compare it with Second Life because they literally are the same, except one's ported on the PlayStation.
And the sad part about it was the cool thing was Sony had projected and financed so many different events inside of it, even to the point to where when Infamous 2 was coming out, they actually had a 3-day event where you can chat with the developers live via webcam.
Mhm.
They would answer questions and even like take on some of your ideas and incorporate into the game.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can't argue that the idea behind it is good. I mean,
It was groundbreaking.
Second Life, all the companies are trying to integrate social activity into their products. Sony, took this a step further and tried to say, let's try to make our own virtual world. It's just a lot of the problems, with what developers think, what corporate thinks, what sponsors and investors think. Things don't always go hand in hand, and I wouldn't be surprised if the cost in keeping this up, like you said, the DJs, the events, and everything, was not beneficial for the company, and they just see it as an acceptable loss. Which you, first and foremost, as a company, your duties, kind of to your consumers, it's more toward your investors and bankers. They have the final say because they have control of your money.
That sounds like what Spectre was saying earlier. Like, can you talk about what you had brought up earlier about this topic? It was about something about the
I got you.
someone else is funding it.
Eventually, around the time where it's like I say 3 or 4 years into the PlayStation 3's lifespan, they they were already discussing about shutting down PlayStation at home. They was just going ahead and get rid of it. But the community was so strong that they banded together and they said, "We'll tell you what, as long as you guys keep funding it, we'll just do everything else. We'll maintain the servers, we'll maintain the community, we'll help out the forums, anything that you add into it, we will, we will sit here and we will handcraft it for everybody so they can enjoy it. But please don't shut us down." And since then, they gave it to the community. PlayStation at home, as you guys now know, is for the longest time now it has been it's been community ran. It's actually I could say the first game that was strongly ran by a community. So in a sense, PlayStation at home being shut down is the community now losing their home, their jobs.
Hmm.
That's exactly what it feels like now.
So who was actually funding it?
Sony. Sony was actually funding it, but eventually, when they gave it to the community, you had these. It's kind of like a secret community known as the Founding Fathers. And what the Founding Fathers were primarily responsible for was, of course, moderator responsibilities, making sure that the community was in check and everything was PG. You also had some moderators who would go out of their way and host extra events or sponsor petition and funding to help keep the servers up and going, along with a few programmers who pitched in and graphic designers. Even I jumped on board as a graphic designer and did a few projects with the Sony team.
Hmm. So there you have it. It's been around what 6 years, and it's finally closing its doors. December 3rd is the last day to buy everything that you want to buy until March 31st, 2015. Then the doors are closing. That's goodbye PlayStation Home forever. I don't know if they may come out with something else in the future, but as of right now, PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Home is a done deal. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to hashtag Gamergate. This controversy that is going around. It's pretty much a debate fueled on women, video games. It has many different topics, but recently it's been some mostly video game journalism and the role and treatment of women in the video game industry. Uh, does anybody want to give any topics on that or what they've heard about it?
Well, it's so tough because it's such a broad topic. I mean, it's
Yeah.
sexism in the gaming community, from developers, reporters, gamers. You know, there's a ton of discussions, debates, forum posts with 1,000 different views out there. Things are starting to come to light because it's under scrutiny a whole lot more than just a casual topic.
And unfortunately, that's the entertainment industry and our industry and how they perceive and use women for marketing. Look at the entertainment as far as the music industry. Women are primarily the primary source for marketing.
Right. Well, sex sells.
It
How
is-
many times have you heard the industry simply say that? We all know it.
Sex,
Everyone knows that basic concept, even to the point where we know companies are using sex to sell to us. It's on the female end and on the male end of it. I think with the big hot topic being video games are a male-dominated industry,
Mm-hmm.
that the female rights campaign actually has some more impact to it because it's an impact against a field that's dominated by men.
and if I can, we have answered that call by giving some feministic heroes, some feminist heroes out there into the gaming world as well. With the new Tomb Raider Rebirth, of course, and along of a few other titles that primarily feature strong, dominant women roles.
And if I can, like, when it comes to the whole sexism and like the whole just really the gaming industry jobs, there is some women out there who has like their masters in their field, and they're put here on the whole forum post just to do a video blog or whatever, just so they can just be the female face of the company. That's the only reason why they were hired. It's pretty much like what's the word where you hire people just for whatever.
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action is pretty much affirmative action. What they're doing to a lot of the women who are pretty much, some are more qualified than other artists. Like there's an artist in Ubisoft, Magdalene. She's top of her field. She's very well respected, and she's one of the few lucky ones that's actually strong on her position in that company, where other ones who are pretty much almost equally talented aren't getting as much exposure as she is.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's corporate world anyway.
Yeah.
And that's anywhere. There's always going to be that preferred man type thing
behind it. Yeah.
I
I think when it comes, I'm sorry, I was going to say, I think when it comes to video games, one of the things everyone seems to overlook is it's entertainment. Entertainment is wish fulfillment. If you look at the key demographic of video games, even though it's changing right now because a lot more female gamers are beginning to voice their opinions and all that, it's male dominated. If you think about the stereotype gamer, it's a guy in a basement, poor acne, but it's a guy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what is geared toward us is fulfilling the simplest desires. And men are simple. We're motivated by simple needs, whether it be the sexual aspect or being that alpha male that takes charge of everything.
Remember, like, back in our old times, where we was in the arcade, like back in the 80s, early 90s, when you played games in the arcade like Mortal Kombat 2 and The Simpsons and X-Men or whatever.
Killer Instinct,
yeah, those games. Like, it used to just be as light as, hey man, you play just like a fucking girl. Nowadays, it's sad because
You have to tiptoe around it.
yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
And that's a lot of double standard, simply because it's such a hot topic debate. Everyone has a solution and ultimatums and all that stuff, but it's people interacting with people. I always hated the term gamer girl. I don't consider them to exist. They're gamers. A gamer girl, in my eyes, is a marketing play, and we've all seen it.
yeah.
That hot chick into video games has a bunch of geeky apparel. For a lot,
God,
that's a
man. Look
persona.
Look
they
at
don.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Game like and gamer girl as in YouTube. When you look at that, there are these girls who have the makeup on, their fucking cleavage is everywhere, and they're playing Call of Duty. And that is the supposed standard for a game. And I'm doing air quotes right now, no one can see me. Like the standard gamer girl like persona, like that's the end now. And these girls are getting so much attention, and to me, like, it's the wrong kind of attention. Like, if you really want to look at a true gamer girl, like, look at those girls who play like League professionally, or who actually go out to these competitions and wreck shop. You know what I mean? They're not doing it for attention. And real gamer girls look just like everyone else. You know, regular people who just enjoy games. I want to leave a link in the description to npr.org, and it's attached to this hashtag Gamergate. And I want to do like a little synopsis of the article, if I may. So it's saying it's a debate about a lot of things, and it involves a lot of people, but at heart, hashtag Gamergate is about two key things: ethics in video game journalism and the role and treatment of women in the video game industry, an industry that has long been dominated by men. Uh, so online trolls have long attacked women in the video game industry, but during hashtag Gamergate, it's gotten so bad that two women left their homes because they feared for their own safety. And the FBI has said that it will look into the harassment of game developers. The first of the two women is Zoe Quinn. Quinn is an independent game developer and a community organizer who has been actively involved in the video game industry for most of her life, both as a consumer of video games and as a developer. She quotes, "I basically make weird little games that are about feelings, so not the traditional sort of game that people usually think of when you say video game." Quinn's most notable game is called Depression Quest, which simulates the experience of having depression through multiple choice text. Now, I went to that website, and it is, I can't say that it's a game. It is like a regular website, and it's multiple choice. It's like you're reading and you're doing an essay almost. Like you're just doing multiple choice questions. There is no involvement with a character other than yourself.
Well, I think that was the sort of thing that she was going for.
It's not like Choose Your Own Adventure or anything like that?
Yeah.
No.
It's really difficult to determine what is a game now, simply because the medium of gaming has just barely scratched what it can do as entertainment. I mean, look at the Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
That has been by far one of the most evolutionary things in gaming, as opposed to touch screens and HD graphics, and they're toying from everything between social immersion with interactive chat rooms and all that to full-blown pornography. But there's so much more that goes on with it.
But see, that's the thing. Like, for something like this, I can kind of see the backlash that she would get for calling this a game, and then a lot of guys aren't gonna go in there and get in tune with their feelings and then sit down and play a game that is like turn text based type thing where you just have multiple choice.
There are a lot of games based like that. A lot of the Japanese market and the Chinese market.
No, there's no characters.
JRPGs.
It's just maybe one picture.
Well, you said like yourself, you're the character. This is supposed it's an interesting experiment,
Well,
and that's what it
feels more
like.
like a program. It feels more like an interactive website than an actual game.
Well, they have different variations of games, like text-based games. Some of them are called MUDs, where my first experience as a MUD was way back in 94, 95. I forgot the title of the MUD. But pretty much I couldn't get into it because it wasn't my style of gameplay, but I sat there, I read a lot of words, and for most MUDs, you have a set list of commands that they expect you to already know. So such as you needing to walk through a room, you just type in the word north and you read what happens on the story.
Oh, okay. So that sounds, it plays similar to that. I will leave a link in the description to that also, because I'm not hating on it. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm pretty sure it's somebody else out there would enjoy it.
But I think what the issue is, it's not the fact that she developed this game, or even the fact that she's female, that she was a public figure that made a statement. And we all know trolls. If you're even listening to this right now, you know what a troll is, and you know what toxicity is. Yes, women receive it a lot more than men, because as men, I guess we just casually shrug it off. It's part of the gaming thing, and we just learn to adapt to it. Women, it's more personal, because the main thing that makes being anonymous so dangerous is trolls can do anything and everything under the safety of anonymity.
Yes.
If you look at that big craze that was just hitting, the swatting going on right now.
Hashtag our first podcast. Sorry.
Oh God. I know, I came late to the party. What can I say? But that was by far the dumbest thing to have ever trended.
Yes.
I keep listening to all the different reports and everything. People can get shot. If, police busted through my door right now, how do you react to that? And there's a lot of people who were a hell of a lot smarter than I would have been in that act. But then listening to people who were caught, the trolls and everything who were doing those kinds of things, and just the sheer, I don't even know how to explain it. It just, the level that they were willing to go for their enjoyment. And that's that same level that's being thrown at these women. It's not a matter of sex, sexism, or anything like that. That's just pure toxicity on a human nature that these people who enjoy that outlet are freely allowed to do that on. I think it's more along the lines that the galvanizing effect that this has been misdirected toward feminism, even though it has strong roots in it.
Let me do a little bit more of this article right quick. So for a while, Quinn dated a programmer named Aaron Gojani. I don't know how to say that name. And what he did is that he sparked the hashtag Gamergate debate when he wrote online that Quinn had cheated on him one time with a journalist for the game's website Kotaku. The implication was that she had done so to get better reviews for Depression Quest. Quinn and Kotaku have denied these claims, but what followed was hashtag Gamergate. The claims instigated a huge backlash on Twitter and online forums like Reddit and 4chan. Some people use the allegations against Quinn as proof that there's corruption in the video game journalism. The game developers and game journalists have grown too cozy. Others attack Quinn based on her gender, calling her a social justice warrior, an insulting term for people who are deemed to be uninterested in games themselves, just in those games as a platform to promote themselves or their ideals. Then Quinn was flooded with death threats, rape threats, her personal information, even photos were hacked, posted online, and she was forced to leave her own home.
That's the community for you.
Yeah, well, it's the backlash. Like, as much as we want to say, it's terrible and everything, it's expected. But it's the same way if you're a public figure. Anyone who is in the social eye that has a cause, a purpose, a saying, or any type of motive, one of the common tactics is to discredit them. And these are people who are just trying to be figureheads for it. So what if she dated a journalist? I mean, I understand the scandal behind her sleeping around for reviews, but that's hearsay. And everyone's going around casually saying it's a fact, or this is a classic example. She can have a relationship with the journalist, just as, rumors can go around that it was some crap going on with that. It's a personal thing for her. Now, if there's anything that needs to be discussed about it, was she using sex in her journalism? But that's only to discredit her. And I think that's what this whole thing has mainly been about, was not finding out the truth, not finding out the hypocrisy, or, you know, if she really is the woman she's putting herself up there to be. It was simply to discredit her. One simple tweet, whatever, posted thing online, that was it, to literally train wreck her entire cause. And that's how simple it is.
And I want to chime in by saying, you know, I had this conversation earlier with a friend at work that the internet is a very, very dangerous thing now, and we're all starting to see now how that's so true. Look at all these people that have these falsified stories made up against them. One, for instance, being popular Vine guy being killed in a car accident. And the internet must have tried to kill this guy at least 3 or 4 times. And now we also have swatting. You know, when people have police coming to your door.
Where have you been for the last 10 minutes? We just talked about that.
I know. Arson
okay. I see what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah, Eric just had a lot to say, and, you know, I just wanted to throw mine in.
Yeah. This is a topic I have a lot of opinions, insights, and stuff on, because it's something that shouldn't be an issue. Exactly. In theory and everything, but it is. It naturally is. Simply because, well, it's not that we're human, is that we don't view men and women as equals. If it was true equality, everything positive that we say about equality, you know, by right, the negative should apply as well.
Exactly.
You know, that opens up a big can of worms, but simply for it to be that way and be fair, it has to be that way because of the human factor.
Haters gonna hate.
But yeah, they always are. You can never please the people who it's never enough for them. There's always going to be that one troll that escalates, that one person who oversteps privacy and bounds for the lulz, for the shits and giggles, or, you know, for a noble cause. There's going to be 1,000 different variations of it.
Yes.
But the applications of it, I think, should be the questions being asked, rather than, oh my god, hashtag controversy, hashtag feminine rights and all that. And a lot of it too are just, it's the hot topic. People want to be on board on the hot topic and say their piece, you know, like me, and hope it has meaning. And that should be the thing focused on, that there's a lot of opinion on it.
Right. Hold on. Gotta cut you there. We're running into break time. So we're gonna take a small intermission here. We're gonna cut the commercial. And when we come back, we'll end this off a little bit.
When we come back, we're gonna do like this last little bit of this article that's gonna lead into our next topic. Give us a silly nigga before we start.
Silly nigga.
All right. Welcome back
nigga.
to the PSH podcast. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and touch on this one more part before finishing this topic, this article. So we go into Anita Sarkeesian. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name all messed up, but it's like Sarkeesian, Sarkeesian.
Sharkeisha.
Yeah, Sharkeesian?
So I don't know. All right, so this is basically.
Aren't I the white guy?
Hey.
That
So this is someone that she had also lobbied for other women. Quinn, the Quinn lady that we've talked about earlier. She lobbied for Anita, who has been living with hashtag Gamergate for 2 years. Sarkeesian is a video game critic who looks at the way video games portray women in an online blog called Feminist Frequency. In her video critiques, she takes clips of games, talks about the roles that female characters often play. In one, she talks about how women are often regulated to the role of damsel in distress, a prize to be won or a goal to be achieved, using Princess Peach from the Super Mario series as an example. She talks about how She quotes, "How sexualized female bodies often occupy a dual role as both sexual playthings and the perpetual victims of male violence." She says in a video that cuts to a scene from the Assassin's Creed game series where a man asks about a prostitute. So, she has been getting angry backlash from her critics since she has been doing them, but during hashtag Gamergate, the backlash got so bad that she tweeted she had left her home too, also calling the authorities.
I am surprised that she didn't mention anything about God of War.
Or even Heavy Metal Effect too.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, this is just the article. So, like, if you go to
These
her
are just
website,
examples.
her online blog called Feminist Frequency, which I will probably leave a link in the description, you will see all her other videos about and articles about other women, how they're portrayed in gaming. Now, here's the thing: is that when any organization focuses so much on a certain topic, you're gonna get backlash. Just like if someone says, "Oh, yeah, look how the gaming industry portrays black people in these games, and look at what they did to this game in Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, and how you were freeing slaves and shit, and people was getting whipped." I mean, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna be like, they're gonna hate you for even, I don't want to say crying about it. You know what I
For
mean?
trying. Or
Yeah,
even
but when
bringing
you
it up,
bringing
how
it,
dare you?
yeah, when you bring it up, it's like there's millions of people out there who know about this stuff. It's just a thing. And not only that, when Super Mario was made like that long ago, that was the thing back then. So it's
Well, shit, I mean, the first Super Mario was him trying to save someone who wasn't Peach, and by inflicting animal cruelty. You can spin it a lot of different ways.
yep.
But
Then you
one
can
of the
say,
things I said was that
Those
it,
poor turtles.
I mean,
yeah, the game industry is young. It really is compared to a lot of other industries, and it's always been viewed as childish.
Yes.
But when you look at these games, think about it as the fantasy of when you was a child that age playing those type of video games, saving the princess. When you're in school, I'm pretty sure everybody had that crush. That chick that they always wanted to save from, Mr. Captain of the football team, you know.
It's everywhere. Like, it's not, that is not the issue. It's more along the lines that the video game industry, like, is geared toward men. And it's the industry's smart. You don't go into that business making that kind of money without doing your homework.
Of course.
The whole trope of damsel in distress, that is a time-old tradition and kind of emotion almost brought up in men. It's primal. We have to protect
name
women.
almost any
in
old
that.
Disney movie, and I promise you, there's a damsel in distress. What do you think of
They all are.
princesses?
No, Sleeping Beauty was, I think, the first cinematic Disney film of them.
Sleeping Beauty,
Yeah.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs,
Mulan.
Mulan.
No.
No.
We're talking
Mulan
the
was
first
actually
one.
not a damsel in distress.
Ancient Disney movies.
That
But
was
you
like
said
that was a
name any
change.
Disney movie. You said
No,
name any
well,
Disney movie.
there's that whole thing. Like, Mulan was a decent story, but it still went under its tropes of, awkward this, and then they tried to compensate by making Frozen, where, they did it to where it was almost comically different.
What's the one with
The
the
guy
ice
who
chick?
was helping,
Right.
Gaston or whatever his name was actually the bad guy.
Yeah,
So now it's complete
they made
opposite
it about
in the
sister love
sexism.
instead of like this
Well, no,
chick
the whole
loving a
thing that
prince.
Elsa. I remember. It's one of my little cousin's favorite movies, and I watch it with him. I'm a guy. I have a beard. I ride a motorcycle. I'll sing along with this song too with my little cousins near.
Yes.
But I remember they would always talk about, well, how come Elsa doesn't have a guy? And you have to sit there. It's like, well, she doesn't need one. You're a kid. You don't understand those complicated things as that, but it has to fit kind of that overall theme of the world,
And leave it to the kid to ask the questions never asked.
Yeah, well, it's that simple. They don't see it on the on the gray shades that we try to make everything black and white for equal fairness. They see it, and they see it unfiltered. But what I was getting at with the whole even bringing up the damsel in distress is that's something arguably hardwired into us.
Yeah.
One of the most beginning driving forces is the procreation of our species and the protection of those of our offspring. That's hardwired into DNA. I mean, it really is.
You know what?
And it's the same reason if you look at a lot of the wars during the romanticized periods, anything before, I guess you could arguably say the invention of gunpowder, a lot of that wasn't for power struggles or anything like that. It was for women. Vikings raided up and down the coast for resources, land, and everything, but they would take women. The whole thing. That is in us, innately. And a lot of what wish fulfillment is kind of supplementing that, because we don't go out and raid another tribe for their women so that we can have 5 different wives and, make sure at least one of our offspring continues on our legacy. I know that's an extreme case, just throwing it out there. But that was a reality.
Thing when it comes to that type of situation with the Vikings and such, because it's more of starving the army of its resources. Women is a very valuable resource. Without
women are the
species cannot survive. So by taking their women and procreating with them, you expand your lineage but kill your enemies.
Well, let me bring this back to the gaming thing right quick.
No, right, but I was actually doing that. They kind of got sidetracked.
No.
But the whole point of that is a lot of that damsel of distress and that type of women being in the game invokes that primal urge, and it brings us immersed into the game more. You don't game for something you have no point with. Jolly, you were saying that one emotion-based one, you had no point in bothering with it. There was no immersion, no point.
Well, it was more like while I was, and it's probably because I didn't sit down and really, because
understand.
I'm just kind of skipping over, just looking it over because
it's just a simple thing. I'm not like poking at you.
Well, no, it's just that because
that's the whole thing. It's a lot like easier to invoke that in the main demographic of gaming.
Yeah.
Men. We have to go protect that princess because, from any standpoint, we feel obligated. It makes us feel noble.
My thing isn't really. My thing is like I am a kind of like goal objective person, so my goal is not for self enlightenment or self discovery. You know what I mean? Like that's not what I look for in a video game that I want to play. That's
right.
So it's something like that could be good for someone else, but not for me. And right quick before we go into this other topic, my idea of how the feminist movement is like going about this video game thing is a little skewed to me, because you can't pick on things that are over, like that have a standard already, because if you change that standard, you're kind of changing what makes that game that game. So wait a minute, give me a second. So like for instance, look at Pac-Man. So when Pac-Man came out, everybody was playing it. You couldn't even tell Pac-Man was a man. It was just a fucking yellow ball with a mouth. You know what I mean? The only difference was Pac-Man and the little picture of like the cartoon. So then when Pac-Woman comes out, what is that? What is it called?
Pac-Girl or Pac. Dang, what? Miss Pac-Man.
Miss Pac-Man. That's what it is. Miss Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man was supposed to be like, I don't know, not his wife, but the way they had dressed her up, fucking makeup and everything, and it
was just Pac-Man in drag.
That's what it looked like, basically.
Yeah, that's the joke everyone says, but it was hinted at that this was the female version, and I can see like a lot of
what this was just to bring women and girls into gaming, into Pac-Man. It wasn't to say, oh look at this prostitute or this drag queen on a game, let's play it. But this is something that they did back then. It's over, it's done with. Now look at what gaming is now. Don't look at how stuff was 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Look at what it is now. Look at Tomb Raider. Look at, if you really want to say something, look at how they are treating that female character from the new Metal Gear Solid game. This chick runs around with a sniper rifle in a bikini and short shorts.
Also, what's really the whole thing about the feminist movement is women now are in gaming. They're an established audience. They've been ignored for too long. When do we finally start catering to all audiences instead of just men?
That's the problem, though. We have been catering to all audiences. You know why?
Well,
You know
no, it's
why?
not that we
Because
haven't been I was
most
gonna say,
We haven't. They do not have enough games where they are portrayed as, heroes. They do not have a strong standing point in the games. They are still
okay. You can't look at the
hold on, I just
majority
wanna
of games that's already out. Look at the games that's
wait,
coming
hold on.
out. You have Mirror's Edge, which is a female role. You have that last game, Tomb Raider, again, that's been around for 20 years. You have Beyond Two Souls. That was the main character was a woman. You have Ellie, which was a good side character for. It was basically a co-star. She was a co-star, and she has her own game also. Look at the Assassin's Creed series. You have a black female role, which in a main video game. You have all these other. You have the diversity. You just don't see it. And the problem is that when these games come out with the diversity, nobody says, "Oh, look at this diverse character." They just always look at the next game that comes out like, "Oh, why didn't you put a female role in it? Or why didn't you put a black role in it? Or why you do this? Why do you
all
do
these
that?"
titles that you're mentioning, maybe 2 or 3 of them are AAA titles. When we're talking
but
about
that's the other
Assassin's
point
Creed
you
main
guys are
character,
missing
that's
behind
not a
this.
AAA title. The Assassin's Creed main character was just for them to have a side story to the overall, trilogy. Like, no female character actually has a true, strong trilogy that's AAA platform, besides Tomb Raider. That's it. Be honest. How many female leads have strong AAA titles out there for them?
Can you consider Bayonetta a AAA title?
Yeah,
But she was
it's up there, but it's not.
extremely and hyperly
When we say
sexualized.
truly AAA, they can strongly, easily go into their own TV series or movies or whatever.
See, here's the thing. When you say sexualized, here's the problem with that. When you look at a woman and say, yeah, she's sexualized because she barely has anything on. If from a woman's standpoint, look at Kratos. He walks around with half of a sheet on his body, tattered cloth. He walks around like Tarzan, basically. Tarzan is sexualized for women.
No, well, you're actually well, at least in my opinion, you're confusing two different things.
Well, not
The
Tarzan, but
looks,
like the,
well,
the
yeah,
gaming. You know what I mean? In
right. I
gaming,
understand that.
most of these guys,
The
they aren't regular
barbarian look.
guys. They aren't regular
But what you're
guys. You know what I
talking
mean?
about is more objectification of the two characters.
Well-
They're being portrayed there as sexual objects.
Very thin line.
But the reason
It is.
Kratos,
But hold on, wait. What I was gonna say is the grossly sexualized characters. It's the looks and also the demeanor.
That is
Her
true.
whole with
That is true.
Bayonetta, her whole what is it? That old thing where her hair and everything and all that.
Yeah.
It's like she's striking pose for Playboy, and then you catch a little tidbit just at that right moment.
That is
That's
definitely
over
true.
sexualization.
Yes, it is.
But it's also on that flip side too that it's argued, oh, it's empowered sexualization. The same reason women have taken to stripping a little less taboo. It empowers them and everything. That's a debate where it's in the eye of the beholder.
that's
It
neo-feminist.
really is, and that's where a lot of the clashing comes into play. A lot of feminist groups want to have it portrayed as these are people who are being objectified. They're just there for eye candy, for tits and ass for young gamer guys to go, ooh, and then expect that and to portray it on every other woman out there.
One of the best, most competitive fighting games out there, dead or alive. That's
Oh yeah,
Overly
that
sexualized.
a
speaks to-
franchise that has literally stabled itself off of jiggle physics.
Yes.
If no one knows what jiggle physics is that in Dead or Alive, one of the only games that has done this, if you pick a female character, you can actually go to the options for that character and actually set the jiggle rate for the bounciness
The buoyancy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the basically the
of the
it's how
breast,
much the
and
boost.
that's basically when you age it. Like there's an age bar, and they it's really a bouncy bar, but they call it an age bar, and you can set this age bar from anywhere from 18 to 99, which didn't make it made sense because 18 legal limit. You know what I mean? And if you set it
It's
at
still an
18,
awkward thing,
I
it,
want
right?
it
what
is
you
extremely
said.
awkward. You set it at 18, it's like not so bouncy, but if you set it to 99, those things are like flopping around everywhere. It was really over sexualized.
Well, and that's the thing. You can see a lot of these figureheads as that. They're basically the pinups of fighting genres.
Yeah.
When you look at a lot of other characters who kind of aren't, people think of like Chun-Li, really like very few fighting genre characters are like that without having to go into that anime lolly look, the really young girl to where they
Mhm.
can't be really that sexualized for reasons we should all be aware of. But the whole thing that I was getting at, the sexualization, that's a thing that kind of is up to the person to decide. And I think that's where a lot of the controversy comes into play, because where one person sees, oh my god, this is a sex doll that I can play around with, as opposed to, yeah, you know what? I want my badass Valkyrie chick to, look however I want her to be, and I'm okay with that. I kind of like it. And that's on both sexes too. Look at one of the big popular trends right now is that kind of sub debate of games making gender locked characters as opposed to free to make your own gender but still have the same class. There's almost a 50-50 line of or I shouldn't say guys, gamers who don't care and gamers that have a preference.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter what your preference is. That can span to I only play chicks because I like looking at jiggle physics, or I only play guys because I don't want to stare at jiggle physics for
Well,
9 hours
sometimes
on end grinding in a
with
raid.
that one, that's a little. I don't know how to take that one because like recently, and this is we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next topic after this. Recently, Assassin's Creed Unity had a lot of flack about them having the main character was not a woman or something like that, or they didn't. It was either the main character or the online multiplayer that you could not have a female character, which
I think the only thing that you could pick was a courtesan. I think that's what the big debate
no,
was. Like,
this is in Assassin's Creed Unity. Basically, when you're in game, up to three other people can be in game with you. Now you have all these customization options. You can customize your boots, your belt, which can let you carry more weapons. You can customize your weapons. You can customize the color of your clothes. You can customize your hood, your cape, all that stuff. But the only things you couldn't customize was your skin color and your gender. So when you're playing a game, say if I'm in a game and you three joined my game, if I looked at you, your characters are all different people. I can see different people, but in my game I can only see me. Just like in your games, when you join me, I'm a different person, but you see the main character Arno as yourself. And they're saying that that was to keep it more central on the main character and not to diverge it too much from the storyline.
but
Now,
it's also an ease of convenience for the
it,
programmers
it
and the
is an
people
ease of
making.
convenience, but at the same time, they have put so much more, and this is a way later topic, so much
Oh yeah.
more into DLC and in the season pass that they could have had time to make a female character, like a good female character model, where if I want to join your game, let me be who I want to be and join and get in that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of
Well,
just
the
seeing
only
Arno all the time.
what I was gonna kind of end cap with it is that I think a lot of it also has to do with we all have these strong opinions and everything, but ultimately it's a product. This is someone's story, someone's world that they're creating. I mean, you have dedicated lore masters, people who are, full-time game writers
Yep.
almost to make worlds and flesh these things out. These are their ideas and kind of what they depict as well. and we're being sold like a story, an entertainment thing.
To me, it's
If
take it or leave it. If you don't like
yeah,
it, don't fucking buy it. I
you
mean,
don't have
you
to buy
basically
San
have the power.
Andreas. Yeah, the new Grand Theft Auto 5 if you have a thing against shooting women or punching someone, or you can buy it because you want the absolute freedom to do that. You don't want to be told not to. It's up to the it's up to the consumer to buy the products and endorse the things that they want,
And
not enforce as much as they can within reason what is distributed out there. And that's a big topic. That's also another debate. So, I'm
we're,
not going to go
we're pretty
fully into
much
that.
already in our next topic, gaming and diversity. So Aisha Tyler is kind of like a forerunner for this. And if a lot of people who don't know who Aisha Tyler she is from the show Archer. She plays the fucking spy chick. I think she's black. I can't really tell what she is on Archer.
I don't know if they've actually like fully confirmed her race, but
Yeah, so but she's funny as hell. She's a comedian. She is a stand-up comic. She also hosts the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? And if you have seen E3, she was the host for Ubisoft. She is an extreme gamer and really fucking hot to me. Like that chick is fucking hot.
perfect segue.
Anyway, I'm sorry. That
Oh,
chick is damn hot.
everything we just talked about just went out
Hey,
the window.
hey, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Because shit, I mean, she can tell you that she's hot, so I don't want to hear that. I can appreciate somebody for their beauty, okay, and that the fact that they're a gamer. All right, so I don't want to hear it. Leave me alone. Let me have this, okay? Fucking hashtag horrible comments down below, okay? All right, so.
We're almost at the core of the earth. Keep digging.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Anyway, the basically she says that the idea that there's not diversity in gameplay is just not true. Does it need to be better? Absolutely. So she goes on to say that uh, despite the criticism, a black woman tells Sydney that the industry has made great progress over the years. She cites that Laura Croft, the lead character of the Tomb Raider franchise, as an example of a strong female lead who has been around for 20 years. She quotes, obviously, people can talk about misogynist tropes in the game. Her boobs were too big and she had on short shorts, but for the fact of the matter is she was a badass and a lot of men were playing as a woman for years and years. She says that the game creators are beginning to respond to the realization that more women are gaming in a traditional male setting and on traditionally male platforms. It's slow for sure, but it's definitely happening.
It's a
And
gradual evolution.
gamers have a demand for change. So when gamers voice their opinions, and you can voice your opinion way better with a pocketbook than you can with your voice. Some game developers will listen, but for the majority of the time, if you are buying these games and you are supporting these games will keep coming out.
See, that's the thing I think that is so funny is when people say powers in your pocketbook and that game developers will listen. No, they will listen wholeheartedly more than in a forum post complaining about something. This is they're a business.
That's what I mean.
If they cannot sell something, then you can't sell it. Something has to drastically be changed.
That's what I'm saying. Like if
Nintendo,
people
yeah.
support it, it will keep happening. As long as they're making that bottom dollar, it's gonna keep happening.
Yeah, I
Oh
agree.
yeah. If you wanted like a really good example of how this actually works, the name of the guy is really slipping my mind, but he does a show, and he talks about innovation in gaming and how basically it's the consumers, the gamers themselves, that have left the game franchise so stagnant. We do not want innovation, and it shows in our sales.
Yes.
what's the classic joke? How many Call of Duties and COD clones
Oh my
are
god.
out there right now, as opposed
Man.
to really innovative games? Look at Mario. It's such a simple example. The new Marios right now. It's just a copy of a copy of a copy of a game that was kind of an updated version of the original.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, no, I mean the original Super Mario Brothers.
I can say
And you look at a game like Super Mario Sunshine, Galaxy, and all that. I mean, those titles don't have really that many sequels or continuing lines into it. They still accept it into the lore and into the franchise, but they tried it. They tried innovation, and the sales just weren't there. They weren't. So they moved on to what was tried and true, what makes money, what will sell come Christmas and the big game sale dates.
1 second. Can we get a time check?
42. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing.
Next topic.
That was a quick one.
Okay. Well, let's
Well, no, but,
let's let them finish off first before we be all rude and shit.
Always gotta keep the white man down.
Hey, not breaking it up.
Maybe you learned to shut the fuck up.
The point being that there really is a lot of innovation, and it's not just on the political aspects. It's, like I said, evolving. It really is a young form of media. It doesn't have the history and the talent out there that film, music, and a lot of the other medias have. But it's getting there.
Here and there, you do see some innovative games. Like some games are really original. Like the the something Chronicle, the Stanley Chronicle, or the Stanley Parable.
Oh, the Stanley Parable.
That's an innovative original game. That one truly is different. And when Little Big Planet did come out, yes, it was a side scroller, but it gave you back a new sense of retro with new graphics and like
A sense of control.
Yeah, a little bit more of a sense of control. It's like the fun factor was completely different in the fact that you can not only create levels, share with your friends. It was a simple, fun, like Mario Party-ish game to where, how they just programmed it is just the games could be so different or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And,
well, I mean, you can take a look on YouTube's most reviewed games and kind of see what is popular. Gary's Mod, Goat Simulator,
Yeah.
a lot of the horror genres.
A lot of independent stuff, though.
Yeah.
A lot of
Because
indie
they don't
things.
have to worry about pleasing investors, bean counters, or a bunch of people who are literally outside of the gaming community.
Pretty much.
They want to run their businesses as a business, not as people who are fans of gaming, trying to add to the content of gaming. One of the best people that I could possibly do like a shout out to is Extra Credits, a YouTube channel, a bunch of people who are in the gaming industry that literally go from the intricacies of the hero's journey all the way to, you know, how MMOs are being free to play, right? Power creep and all that.
I remember that link you shared with me. It was very, very insightful.
Oh yeah.
Especially us.
They explain a lot of that.
I'm gonna put that link in the description.
Especially us, me and you being you know, indie developers, still like on stage one, of course. It gave us
Hashtag humble brag.
but it gave us like a lot of really, really good insight, especially you wanting to, you know, if you want to be a game developer, definitely check out Extra Credits. But it gives you a lot of strong, you know, insights as far as like game balancing, how the industry actually does work. It covers a broad range.
All right, so moving on to our next topic. GameStop to hire 25,000 seasonal workers this holiday, thousands more than last year. Now, this really kind of hits home for me because I used to work at GameStop. GameStop was like one of my third, fourth job when Texas minimum wage was $5.15 an hour.
Oh yeah.
And I was only getting like 4 to 5 hours a week. And then during the holiday season when GameStop employees had like 50% off anything in the store, but our
Oh yeah,
paychecks
that's
were like
big.
20 fucking bucks. You know, not
I mean,
even
that's
not
a
even
really big
$20.
incentive.
It's really big. I don't even know if they have that anymore, but it was huge. And I remember I wanted to get either a new game or that man when those lightsabers came out. Y'all remember those?
Yeah, I remember the light.
Those lightsabers was like $100. I could not even afford a fucking half a lightsaber. It pissed me off so much. So what I'm saying is that a lot of these GameStop, and the title for this is like GameStop and their drones, is because GameStop, to me, just like places like Disney World, and I used to work at Disney World. I have no problem against these companies at all. Fucking love Disney World. Fucking love GameStop. Will I ever work for them again? Probably not. Maybe Disney World, but
Is that the place where you also met that last animator, the last traditional animator?
yes, and that was a whole nother story. That was a whole shitty thing that they did to those animators, and I feel so bad for them. But this on this current topic, what happens is during these seasons, they will mass, you know, advertise about, hey, come work for us. It's a fun place to be. It's you get to work around games, and you get to work around other people who love games. When in truth, you're working around games. You're selling them. You're you're selling them. You're not playing them. You have to do inventory. You have to sell. You have to sell subscriptions. You have to sell pre-orders. And then if you don't, some of these supervisors will get pissed off that you didn't meet your quotas, even though you're getting paid minimum wage. You're not a contract. You're not full time, so they can give you as many hours as they want. 4 hours is like the minimum that you can get. You have to get called in whenever they need you.
And you're a dime a dozen. You're easily replaceable.
You're easily replaceable. If you're not there Sunday morning when the store opens and they have like a fucking crowd of people, even though you're not on the schedule, they call you, say, hey, we need you to come in right now. If you're late, they can let you go, because I promise you, there's probably somebody in line right now that'll be like, oh, I want to work here so bad.
Here's a badge. Here's a hat. It's to work.
Basically.
Well, especially now with the way the economy is and how little job security out there. It's something that hits home to me personally, because I live in an area where it's all tourist-based economy.
Yes.
So there are jobs according to the tourist seasons. We have the ski industries for the summer, the beach and recreation industries, or I got it backwards. Ski people for the winter, beach and recreation for the summer. Like, that is the cycle. Very few places here offer stable, long-lasting jobs. And I think the GameStop and everything, it being a controversy, is the people who are getting in there aren't just teenagers anymore. These aren't kids for a summer job, a holiday job, who, like you said, want to earn that little bit of money, get that little bit of job experience, and then kind of realize what a job is. No. These are people who have lost their jobs, had to quit their jobs because they weren't offering any form of job security whatsoever, and have to basically demean themselves to these jobs, which puts more pressure on, because you have the young crowd who, have to do that. They have to do these kind of jobs for work experience, and then people who need these jobs to live.
Well, it's that
and
feeling
those are clashing.
of this company. Okay, a little bit about GameStop. You remember there used to be more than one company that would sell these kind of games. So GameStop's competition for a long time was a place called Funco Land, which GameStop bought out. EB Games, which GameStop bought out. Blockbuster, which went out of business.
And they had a bigger selection because they were movies.
Yeah, they were movies and games, but yeah, they went out of business. And so now GameStop does not have a actual brick and mortar competition. Their competition now is Steam and digital onlines, and now they're actually selling digital online games from their
yeah, you're right.
Not even from the website, but from in store. If you're in the store, because I bought Valiant Hearts from them as a digital download, and they just print it on your receipt, and you just go home, enter in the code, and there you go. So
It's
they,
more cost effective
well,
because
yeah.
they don't have to spend money on a physical product,
Oh well, I
which
mean,
is
like
money in the plastic,
It
money
was
in the
more
food.
it's
That's the
just
kind of stuff I
they're
mean.
still they're what I'm saying is they're still making money. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
They
they're
make
making
so much
ridiculous
money. They have their own convention. Last year during their convention, not last year, I'm sorry, when the Xbox One first came out, every single store manager who was able to go to that convention got a free Xbox One.
What?
That's how much money that they make. Now, tell me this. How come every time I go to my GameStop there's only four, not even four. Yeah, four, 3 to 4 actual employees in the store. The store manager, the assistant store manager, and 2 workers. Tell me why those workers only make minimum wage or $1 above minimum wage and they have shitty hours. Tell me why they have to have quotas every time they work there and they get reprimanded and wrote up if they don't make them. Tell me why if they're under $5, like from their not from their tills, but like when their tills are not perfect, they can actually get uh charges pressed against them for stealing.
the till, yeah,
Yeah, the
the
till, the cash
registers.
register.
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
they will actually
Oh yeah,
prosecute them if
they
anything
can.
is missing.
They
So
can. They can do that. They have
and
that
and they've
right.
and
It's
they've done
shitty, but
this.
they're allowed to.
And
yeah.
then not only that, but for one instance, one worker was there. His paycheck came back weird. Like they were doing something with the system where they couldn't get a physical paycheck anymore. So when he wasn't there to pick up his paycheck, they sent it off somewhere else. So he had to wait another 2 weeks to get paid before they can print him another check. So they couldn't do anything about it, and they pretty much reprimanded him for complaining. So what I don't like is that just like this company, Disney, Walmart, all these other
Yeah, a
companies
lot of
that they're
companies.
good companies to go buy stuff from, but work for not so much because they treat their employees like shit. They make so much money, but they rarely spread it around to the people that actually need it the most because
Well, not that
they
need it
treat
the most.
their
That actually do the most work. If you
employees like
really want to,
underwear. They change it. They just change them like, hey, put on a fresh pair. There you go. That's it.
Or wear them for 3 days.
What was that, peasant? You need a paycheck? Be gone.
Pretty
2 months.
I
much.
think it's finally starting to be a realization of how much the cheap costs of things like Walmart and wide distributors, that cheapness and cost, yeah, it comes from surplus and a bunch of stuff I'm sure some major in economics could probably run circles around us on, but it's also distribution of the pay income. That low tier that we talk about, where the guys on the front room floors, they're doing a lot of work. They really are. And
Yeah.
a lot of them do know their products very well, almost to the point where they could go out to conventions and talk about the products. Like a lot of us gamers
Oh my
who go out there, we know the product.
Oh,
We know
know
if,
them better than
Killer
the
Instinct
store
Gold is going to
manager.
be a, yeah, but I was going to say, like, if this game is going to be, one that your grandkid's going to want, or your son, or yeah, you know what, I did play this one back in the day, and I would probably buy it again, reused and all that. These people are doing a lot more work, but simply because of that whole process of we're interchangeable, it doesn't matter. If you do the bare minimum that a computer, a drone, and all that stuff can do, you're fine, and you don't need to complain because the moment you do, you're gone. And that's the shitty side of business,
oh yeah.
that they're allowed to do that, and it's tough
Yeah.
because it's one of the hardest things to regulate, because once you start doing that, who is regulating them?
Ren
Who do
Inspector.
you want regulating them?
Ren
Yeah.
Inspector. Final thoughts on this topic. We're gonna move on to our last topic.
Okay. I was working at Game Crazy for a good minute. It's pretty much what you said. I had the same experience. Game Crazy, if you guys don't know, is was the game portion of Blockbuster. So yes, in a sense, I worked for Blockbuster. I was with them for about 2 years or whatever. But anyway, yeah, like me when I was being there, every time I was there, I saw the employee playing video games. I eventually applied to them because I always wanted to, do it or whatever. And when I got the job, the pipe dream died with the job. Like I got there, no, you got to sell this, you got to sell that. What are you gonna play this video game? Well, I'm over here trying to test it out with this guy who trying to. No, it is your job. The dream job is not like that, and they sucker in a lot of people thinking that okay, it's a video game job, it's easy. But the minute you get into it, like from what you hear about a lot of the experts in the industry, it's nothing that it portrays itself to be. Now,
Yeah, your recreation now becomes your work.
Oh, right quick.
Let me-
Every used game there, I could say this. You can check out every used game there, not new, but if it's used and someone brings it in, you can fucking check it out and take it home and play it and bring it back the next day. And if no one buys it, you can keep doing that over and over again until you finish the game. That was the only good part to me. But what about
Well, back to what you were saying, Spectre.
Yeah, so like the whole pipe dream died or whatever, and wow, that kind of threw off the chain shot. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, you were advertised this dream job, and I think a lot of us get suckered into that at an early age with anything. We're gonna come out of school, get our dream job with our magical diplomas and college degrees, and live the normal life. When in reality, the job market is grossly terrible,
And
especially here.
It wasn't even the whole turning your passion into a job that was bad about it. It was exactly how Jolly covered it. It was how they treated the employees. Okay, so you're not making your sales. Goodbye. But wait a minute. Over here you did good in your pre-orders, so we might just keep you as a seasonal hire. And for them, the minimum hours that they could give you as a seasonal person was 1. So if they wanted to, they call you in for 1 hour and you come in for an hour, help stock the shelf, and you're done. It's horrible how they treated us as employees. And like the whole minimum wage thing, is a lot of companies do that. A lot of business practices do that. Like with the whole Walmart and their Peasant Act that they used to have back in the day, where they was taking out insurance claims off their employees and cashing in on it once they died. It's pretty much the same business practice, but with minimum wage on how they do with like the smaller companies now. Like it's horrible. But that's my touch on it. It was fun as the times I did get a chance to play games to the customers. It was fun getting a chance to actually recommend games to families. But as a job and an employee, it was horrible.
So last topic, season passes and DLC. I'm gonna call this the leech of the gaming community.
Oh yes.
So don't see what. Okay.
I don't even know if you want me talking about
No.
this.
We're gonna hit this one up. Season passes and DLC. Now, okay, I was hitting this up and I was thinking about it. Now, Assassin's Creed. I'm bringing this up because I fucking love Assassin's Creed. It's my shit. And recently they came out with a DLC. They're gonna have a DLC that is a Chinese, Asian woman, Chinese assassin in her own story, and it's gonna be DLC, and it's gonna be like 3 other missions that have to deal with the main character, and for the season pass. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so the game itself is $60. Now that's if you get the standard edition, not the special edition with like the fucking figurines and all this other shit. But the regular stuff, $60. So you're gonna play $60 plus $30 for a season pass. You're looking about $80, $90 with tax and all this other stuff. Not to mention strategy guide if you want to buy that. So for me, I would say, okay, this would be necessary as a DLC, as a season pass, because it doesn't have anything to do with the main story, right?
It's continuing the longevity
Yeah,
of the game.
but there have been other games in the past that have had DLC.
Not even just the past, recently.
Yeah, recently, like recently, that have
Like I
DLC.
said, you're gonna get me started if you want
But
me
it's
to talk
like,
about this.
my thing is like, Why am I sitting here paying for some shit that should have already been in the game? I remember when I had my first PlayStation, the longest game I've ever played was called Legend of the Dragoon. It
Yep,
was like
big 4-disc thing.
that thing had 4 fucking discs. Each disc was based off of a main character from the game. It was 4 main characters. Each disc was one whole fucking game that continued to the next disc. So I'm sitting there playing 80 plus hours in this game. 80 plus. Don't even get me started on Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 7, long ass fucking game.
The only thing that has corrupted more social time than what, World of Warcraft and Facebook.
Dude, you are spending so much time in these games because there's so much content. And
Yeah.
back then, that was like what, $20? Even though that was a lot of money back then. Like right now, there is no game out there, even with these Blu-ray discs that they're making these games on. You mean to tell me you can only put about 40 to 50 hours worth of gameplay in it, and then
No,
say,
it's really. Well, I know what you're saying with that, and the simple answer is no. They can't. They choose not to, and it's a dangerous trend
of
that
course they
they're
choose
hitting.
not to.
I was saying the thing with Destiny. I think right now one of the newer big budget games that are really coming under light about this. I won't go into like full detail, and I would suggest watching Angry Joe in his review and his side notes on it, because he really does go into depth about it, and he's
Send me the
had
link,
early
and I will put
access.
that in the
Yep,
description.
I'll definitely give you the link so that you can put that up for me, because he was passionate about this franchise when it was coming under development. And Destiny, I mean, we've all heard of it at this point. It's a big budget game by Bungie.
Yeah. It
This
is.
this isn't some unknown group. This is a AAA company with a lot of funding and a lot of resources to push out this product. And it wasn't like Watch Dogs where they just overhyped it to the point where when it came out it was so lackluster. They put out what arguably is an unfinished product and expected gamers to pay full price and be drip fed the remainders as DLC content, as you said, the season passing, and that's a trend now. It's a trend that every big budget game are starting to look at because it's getting sales, and it's a cheap and dirty way to get sales because we're gamers, and really the only real way to tell a game is to buy it and try it.
It's like
It
here,
really is.
I can imagine other companies doing this, like IKEA.
Oh yeah.
Here's a big bed. So you buy the bed, but now you got to go back and buy the screws and bolts that put the bed together.
Oh
Like
yeah,
all
like if
that
it was
shit should
any
be
other
included
product.
inside with the game. Like there, unless it has nothing to do with the game, like this new Assassin's Creed DLC. If it has nothing to do with the game, you don't have to include it. But if it's a central part of the main story, there's no reason for you, other than trying to get more money, to not include something that should be pivotal for the storyline.
Well, it's content. It's not a question of adding content as DLC, because that's a practice gamers have actually latched onto as an okay thing. You buy this franchise and it lives on an additional, let's just say 2 or 3 years from downloaded content and little added on things here and there. That's smart. That's continuing a franchise. What these companies are doing now is it's not about that they're restricting content or anything along those lines. They are crippling their material to sell you in pieces at full budget pricing.
But
Like
that's
you
exactly what I
just
mean.
said, these are with your Assassin's Creed, $60. Games aren't cheap anymore. They
Oh,
really
hell
aren't.
no.
You buy non-pre-order, non-legendary, whatever you want to call it, editions. It'll roughly run you about $80. Now, is there a subscription? Is there, DLC content in there as well? You're pretty much paying a console or down payments on your console every time you do a game.
Exactly. That is a good way of putting it. Down payments.
They are, and it's working for them. It's so baffling how many people, legitimate reviewers, and not just people complaining about it, but who the industry is their livelihood. They know and have access and understand these things and what's going on and all the craziness involved. They're catching this and they're going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But we're just constantly just allowing it. And the game developers are going, well, you bought the product.
Pretty much.
I
Why
don't
buy
need
it
to
if
care
you
at
don't
that
want
point. Yeah. We'll give you a little something to ease it, but at that point,
it? Here's a
have
new
no
weapon.
value.
It's shiny.
Yeah.
Take that.
Here's a hat for your in-game character
Here's
model.
a 30-minute mission that we could have put in the game somewhere after you finish the whole game, but it's okay.
Yeah, I
know
mean,
you'll
like,
enjoy it.
If you really want a good example of basically what we're talking about, I would really strongly suggest watching Angry Joe's whole thing on Destiny, because it's new, it's current, it's fresh, and anything that's coming out has happened. Like, it's not just hearsay. These are things that are constantly going on and is the go-to topic right now.
Man, we have not heard from Ren in a while. Is he still there?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. You don't have any thoughts on this DLC season pass thing?
Well, yeah, I do.
It's bad. It's bad.
I am
I can
strongly
speak
against.
now, Master. I can speak.
Wow.
Whenever I'm about to, you know what? Cool.
Go ahead.
My comments on DLC. I feel like DLCs are pretty much useless in my opinion. Like, all the side stuff that they put in a DLC can easily be already implemented into the game already, or just save it for the sequel.
Okay, here's how I feel about it. Because me, as writing multiple stories, and of course, going back on the
This is what I'm talking about.
I thought you was done. You paused.
Wow, man.
Done? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ladies, you're both pretty.
Go ahead.
I'm finished. I'm done.
I thought so, because you did stop.
All right, let's go to the verses.
All right, so this is how I feel about it. Like, DLC, additional add-ons to the story. I'm okay with that, because as a writer, sometimes once you finally look at your story, you don't. It's like hindsight. You finally see it like, oh man, I should have wrote this. This would have been a good thing to put in here. And then next thing you know, you have enhanced editions and DLC for a side story for the characters and stuff like that. Like, that I'm okay with. Now, this whole discussion, because I've been out of the console gaming for like a whole year, no, about 6 months now. This whole season pass BS that I'm now hearing about, that really irritates me as a consumer. Like, if I was to buy Destiny and I was to play Destiny and I was to hear about, okay, there's a new DLC coming out. Well, what does it have? Well, it's adding on to this story arc. Wait a minute. What do you mean this story arc? Like, the game doesn't have an ending? Like, exactly.
No, it doesn't. Like, it's literally
What?
like the DLC. It's I don't even know how to explain it. There's like a chapter and then the thing's over, and we're gonna sell you each individual chapter as DLC.
That's like them selling The Walking Dead
Before I forget,
as DLC for each episode.
well, when it comes to The Walking Dead for each episode, it all adds up to $60.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, but
Like, that's okay. Like,
if
that
they were to sell the game, like sell the first episode at $60, and then the second episode was DLC, and then like it wouldn't
Well, it's
add up.
difficult to throw them in there as a comparison
Yeah.
because they're making the chapters as they go.
Let me finish.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't done. Well, the whole Destiny thing, like me as a consumer, if I was in that position, yeah, definitely I would be writing them to get my money back or something. Like, that's a practice that should never, ever even began in the first place. Like, when did this actually start?
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect started the season pass BS?
No.
I
It was,
mean the whole trend of like
I think
DLC. Because remember there was that big controversy, and I think Total Biscuit touched on it, where Mass Effect 3 had that big controversy with that whole thing. That's right around when like it started, as far as
I want to say it's more so. What do you call that game? What do you call that damn game that's like Grand Theft Auto?
Saints Row.
Saints
Thank
Row.
you, Saints Row.
How
Saints
are
Row
you
had the
guys
most
gamers?
of it. Well,
Okay,
I
so,
can't think of it right now because we're thinking
so
about
Uh,
all kind of other
we
shit.
say season passes and DLC. DLC is just pretty much they're adding in more weapons and stuff like that to.
Well, yeah, but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? While having season pass, a season pass is $30 for most of the DLC that's gonna come out in the future, not all of it. Because there have been times where you buy a season pass and you only get like three DLCs that are covered in that season pass, which they don't tell you when you first get it. And then when another DLC comes out, then you have to ba- buy that
yeah,
separately.
and that's not guaranteeing
That's
that the franchise will
that is
have long-lasting DLC either.
for the
Exactly.
That's the other part a lot of people
game
don't
companies.
realize. If a franchise flops, they lose on that.
For some of the game companies, in their defense, their timelines, their deadlines that they have to meet, and how much stuff they have to do to create a world, it takes an
Oh, look, fuck
Let me finish.
that.
Let me finish. Let me finish. It takes
Okay.
an immense amount of time to make that world with such a small team, and that small team has to meet that deadline. They have to meet that deadline, and when
For
and if they don't meet that deadline and they have to push back those titles to like the next year or 6 more months or whatever, gamers outrage over that, and it makes the company look bad to where it does affect themselves. So
right, but
in their defense,
you,
they have to do something for this whole season pass.
no, it's not that. Like that's the way we view it as gamers. You have to think of it also on the industry
Yeah,
standpoint too. They're given deadlines by, hey, how much time do you guys feel you need on this? This is a business.
yeah,
They
it is
don't
a
they
business.
don't just randomly do
It
these
is a
things.
business, and it's a business with employees. And as employees are people, and people can
Right.
work so long in a day.
Which they do. Like
Exactly.
again,
The
there
average
are
time.
indie developing companies
Let me finish.
that are doing well. No, I'm going on this, but this is me arguing with you on it.
I get you.
But they're doing the same exact thing independently with small crowdfunding and everything.
Yeah.
What we're talking about and where the outrage comes out is these aren't small indie companies. These are, these are big multi-million dollar companies
They have
that
time.
have
They
people
they
that they spend
can.
They
thousands
also
of
have
dollars on
projects
to
that they're working on.
allocate correct amount of time.
You
It
think the
isn't
company?
time management or lack thereof. It's literally them screwing over what
You
they
think a
need to
company?
Okay,
do
calm
to
down.
You think
Calm
a company
down.
over
Calm
a
down. Wait a
billion
minute.
employees is only working on one game? No, a company like that is working on multiple titles. They have
right,
teams.
which they have teams doing that.
Title exactly.
Multiple teams,
Those teams are not
multiple
big.
talents.
Those teams are not huge. Those multiple talents are not big numbers.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for both of y'all right quick. It depends on what company you're talking about. Ubisoft has a company in almost every single part of the world. They have one in
They
San
only have
Francisco, they have one in Montreal. They have so many people working on stuff, but yet these companies still make money enough to where they can push release dates back when they have to.
Yeah, they can
They
and
can
they
make
can make
finish
reasonable
games.
you know
dates.
why? Because those multiple locations
Why are
that they
you yelling?
because the mic is down there. Because the multiple locations that they have, the multiple locations that they have are not all dedicated to game development. Some of them are for the businesses side. Other one is for the advertisement side. They're not all just game.
No, that's not how it works. They have their own separate advertising uh, branch, just as they have a marketing branch
Locations
within
are
that.
all within the same building.
We're gonna move on.
Because you wrong and you know it.
No, I'm telling you.
Or we're
I
gonna,
will argue this to you to the
and
teeth.
that's what it is. This
No, let them
this is just look. This is just an opinion. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion on this
Right,
show.
and
Okay,
finish him.
I'm
we're
ready to
just gonna.
break out the loincloths and
I'm half,
knives and we'll settle this old school style.
I'm half and half. I'm half and half on the side. I'm half on the side of the corporations. And me,
Babylology.
as a consumer, I'm half on the side of the gamers. Yes, it's wrong.
Right, we're
Wait, wait
consumers
a minute. I'm
ultimately.
sorry. Hey, everybody, quiet for a second. Everybody, quiet. Red. What was that?
Babylology.
Okay, yeah, I thought you just like wanted to make your voice known. I just wanted to do that.
I'm saying, like,
Uh,
as a consumer,
loud
like,
noises.
as a consumer and as an indie developer, like, the consumers, I understand the season pass is irritating, it's annoying, like, it's unfair. That is very true. You should only pay $60 and get everything at once. You shouldn't have to pay $90, the $60 for the game, and then the $30 for the season pass to get the rest of the stuff. Like, no, that should not happen to us. Very true. You should only pay $60, and as the developers, they have that right. Not the right, but they have that the dedication. What's the damn word where we're just supposed to give the person what they paid for?
He's on the ropes.
Whatever. Anyway, there are some companies that actually are doing right by the people, like what's the game? ESO, Elder Scrolls Online.
He takes another.
Oh no, you did not.
This year, it's like you pay for the game, but they don't have season passes. They are still adding in content for you, where you don't have to pay for the season pass. You already bought the game, and they know that, so they are still doing right by you as a consumer, and still adding in content for you that you don't have to buy
For free, basically.
because you already paid.
Because they had to do that.
Exactly, you already paid for it, and they're giving it to you. They know that. They're doing right by you. This whole season pass with the other game companies that's screwing you over, no, they should not do that. And you as a consumer, if you're already knowledgeable to a season pass, do not invest in that.
Man, somebody throw some water on that dude's mouth because he is spitting hot fire. Anyway, let's move on.
Really? You're
So
gonna segue out on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Like, all right, so we're close to the end here. We're gonna go ahead and give our top picks since this has been like a controversial game thing. We're gonna do some controversial movies now. Let's go ahead and keep this nice and short, maybe 3 minutes each. Okay.
In that
Hopefully.
case, I'll do the talking.
Wait a minute. I want to save you for like second to the last. That way, no one can cut you off. So.
Thank you.
So. Bear, go ahead and go.
Try.
Go ahead and go with your controversial movie pick this week.
I would probably say one of the best ones I can think of is Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. Why?
When you break down what the movie really kind of is, it actually has an interesting message behind it that I think a lot of people never realized. I mean, I don't know if you want me to go into full detail about it, but
As much detail as you can fit in 3 minutes.
well, the whole point was that it's this story of a girl, put in an insane asylum. She reverts to this fantasy world that's a strip club. She does a funny, sexy dance that segues into this fantasy world and everything, yada yada. Spoiler alerts and whatever, I don't care. But the whole point behind it was men were portrayed in there as the villains. They were oogling over the girls. And as you watch the movie, these are scantily clad little schoolgirls where the main character is called Baby Doll, who's running around kicking ass and doing all that stuff. The theme is sexuality used almost as a weapon. And that's the sucker punch. That we, the viewers watching them, oogling these characters, are doing the exact thing that the characters of the men portrayed in there are doing as well.
Next, we got so yes, Sucker Punch. That is a good analytical view of that movie. So
I go hard.
Spectre.
Yes.
Your movie, please.
Okay, the one I'm gonna go with is Quentin Tarantino. Just pick anyone, but
just pick a movie.
I am. The only one I'm gonna pick right now is gonna be Pulp Fiction.
Why?
Why Pulp Fiction?
Yes.
There's a lot of scenes in there that can or cannot be taken as racist. Also, there's religious controversy with Samuel L. Jackson's character role, where he pretty much plays a hypocrite, in my opinion. It's all over the place. There are so many controversial scenes and topics that it just covers, to where you see it as pure entertainment, really quickly, but like on the surface, but you actually delve into it, it touches on a lot of the stuff that at the time America was really hard on.
Awesome. Render Wicked. Your movie pick, please.
I thought it was your turn.
No. Second to last.
Oh, okay. Well, my pick is definitely going to be probably a cult classic and most controversial film of its age, American History X.
Oh, wow. Wow.
See, a lot of you already know.
Go ahead and say why.
Just the title alone. Well, of course, it's the topic that's as old as time now, racism.
I'm just gonna
And
bow
what
out
makes the
on
story
this.
so unique to me is I'm not going to try and spoil the movie for you guys because I definitely want you all to see this movie. Is we have a former Nazi, neo-Nazi. We have this neo-Nazi character who, in the beginning of the movie, he performs a hate crime and goes to jail for it. And towards the end of the movie, we see him change. And as he changes, he wants to change his brother, who he unwittingly has drawn him into his previous lifestyle. So now he's trying to live his new lifestyle while changing his old lifestyle through the eyes of his brother.
Man, I should have went next. That was such a good one. Man, okay. Well, my movie choice is I think everyone should see this at least once, but not twice.
Well,
American Psycho.
Yeah. Wait, the old one or the new one?
The old one, the
Oh,
2000 version with what's his face? Christian Bale, the
oh, you
Batman.
know there's an older one, right?
Yeah, that's a way older one.
Yeah,
Really?
the Hitchcock.
Oh yeah, that's Psycho. But uh, Psycho is a really good one. If any aspiring film actor or videographer should be watching any Hitchcock movie from the way he tells his stories. It's fantastic. But from what I've seen, American Psycho at that point in time, like to where movies were back then, was so controversial for the scenes that they did in this movie. It would freak you out because it's basically looking through the eyes of a a psycho a psychotic.
Serial killer.
Thank you, psychopathic person.
Psychotic, psychopathic.
Let him go.
Basically, yes, he's a psychopath who in his own mind, everyone around him sees him as a normal person, but in his own mind, he is batshit crazy. Like he has these fantasies of killing his friends and family and neighbors, and it is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I have those fantasies too at the current moment with a couple of friends.
So, with that, we're gonna move on to our question, our scenario for all the viewers out there. I'm gonna leave this to Ren and you guys to discuss this. This is a versus scenario between Ellie from
Hold on.
Last of Us.
Let me take care of this.
Yeah, I got you. Ellie from The Last of Us
Let me set
and
it.
Clementine from the Walking Dead series. Go ahead and set that up.
I wanted to set it up. Okay.
Go ahead, set it up.
So in this corner, on the left-hand field, from the most famous game of its time, winner of over close to 300 awards, and still counting.
3,300.
Whatever.
That's a lot of fucking
I
awards.
said 300. I said 33 to 300. Okay.
Oh, we heard 30.
Anyways, The Last of Us. Protagonist, or maybe even co-protagonist, Ellie. And then on the right-hand side, we have probably one of the most innocent, lovable characters in the most twisted and wicked world ever of The Walking Dead game, Clementine.
You put a lot of pauses in that moment.
Yeah, so casting our votes right now,
Nothing
I'm gonna
much
say,
information given.
unfortunately, Ellie, in my opinion, really takes this fight.
Okay, why?
This man.
The reason why I pick Ellie is you got to see the training that she has from Joel, the protagonist of Last of Us, and all the things that Joel has gone through. So you can imagine the type of skill set that she has: stealth, hunting, camping, trapping, etc., etc., etc. Whereas Clementine, she's still coming up to that point of survival. She has a few skills, a little bit of common sense that she learned from Lee, you know. So her whole skill set isn't really that vast. She can handle herself a little bit decent with the pistol. And we've seen in season 2 that she's also coming up to be a fit leader in the later years of her life during this apocalypse.
I don't know. I have to argue with that one.
Okay.
Oh, I'm actually.
You have to go into the
Spencer's side
deception
for this.
role. If we were to go into the role of deception, Ellie can be like, "Hey, not Ellie, but Clementine can be like, hey, are you with the group? No, it's just me, says Ellie, and then Clementine's all, could you help me? And Ellie's like, well, sure. And when she fucking turns her back, it's on. It's
You know what, Spectre? Just
It is
as far as like defending
I can't see that
Clementine,
happening.
can you just sit in the back for right now?
On top,
No, you have to
that
remember,
wouldn't even
one
work.
of the biggest things about Clementine
That wouldn't
makes her
even
so...
work.
Wait a minute
Because
now.
the fact that
Hold on,
Ellie came
Hold
up
on.
no,
Let the great white hope speak.
Wow.
speaking for today.
Man, okay,
Yeah,
everybody
no.
put away your fists. I felt going through the computer right quick.
In a
But
scenario
the
like
thing-
that doesn't work because Ellie was raised in a world where she can't trust anybody.
Well, it's not about that. You said even yourself. She's being groomed to pretty much be a leader. She's in this harsh world. And remember the age difference between these two. It's not much, but it's enough. Clementine is getting a lot more skill sets, and I mean, it's survival, but also in dealing with people. Something Ellie is strongly lacking.
Hmm.
The whole
Strongly
thing with
experienced in.
her is she's trying to avoid as many people as possible
That is
by
true.
the hands of her handler because she's the cure. The whole point of that ending, him going back and taking her, rather than give the gift of the cure and ending this thing so that she can live and have a normal, well, kind of normal life. That whole thing. She's a good survivor, and, I mean, don't get me wrong, both these characters, I could put a strong debate for the best female characters in gaming right now.
Yes.
Yes,
They are.
But Clementine is actually evolving and growing up. Ellie's just kind of reaching there. She's in that adolescent stage.
Yeah.
So, she'll be like that one woman who was trying to chase her down.
Wait a second. We're looking at 14 years old versus 12 years old.
Right. But you got to remember when the I think Last of Us started, when oh god, what's his name?
Joel.
Yeah.
Joel first met her and started training her. How old was she?
14.
No.
She was 14 when she started.
No. 13. It was on the road for a year. It went off for the seasons.
And not only that, she had been running around with her best friend just dicking around. I mean, wasn't that the whole
That was true.
DLC
That was
content? Yeah.
Yep.
She wasn't surviving and everything. She wasn't learning how to live off the land. She only had, well, I mean, for what we could probably say, probably till 18-ish or however long Joel actually lives. That amount of time. Clementine was, God, when did they first pick her up?
8. No.
Yeah, 8.
Was it 8? It was 8 or 10. She was really young.
Yeah, and she's learning, like, the hardest lessons that we have to learn about the darkest sides of humanity, and she's making adult decisions. Or being forced to, I should say. It's kind of hard with the medium the way The Walking Dead is. But
I don't know.
she's still young enough to learn how to shoot, how to fight, and all the other things that can make her a badass.
Well,
But
But
as
she's
this
mentally
scenario is right
progressing.
now,
you already taught her how to shoot a gun.
as this
But you
scenario
know what I
is
mean,
right
like,
now,
just
where it
casual.
stands right now.
Lee taught Clementine how to shoot a gun already.
But Lee wasn't a trained soldier. He
Okay,
hasn't had much
okay.
experience in shooting.
Again, this is what this is supposed to be about. Ellie versus Clementine. Everybody has spoken their words about this. As the scenario is right now, Ellie versus Clementine, where the story is on The Walking Dead and where the story is on Left 4 Dead. Left Behind or
The Last of
The
Us.
Last of Us. Yeah, thank you. Shit. So whatever the story is now, these characters versus each other, who would win? Let us know in the comments below. I have really enjoyed this podcast with you guys. I really thank you guys for your participation. All viewers, if you like this, let us know in the comments. If you have anything that you would like us to talk about, let us know. Or we would like to hear your views as well. Please subscribe to the channel. I am your homie Jolly Dangerous.
And I'm your co-host Spectre.
I'm just a white guy.
He's just a white guy, Bear.
Yeah.
Ren,
Oh, the polar bear.
Ren, you got anything?
Ren signing out.
All right, well, peace out, y'all.